It's your man, Chris Gotrock.
What's up, my family? It's Maliki and Sweet Senorita.
It's your boy, Dirty German. This is All Mills from the Critics. I just finished my interview at C.O.O.L Radio, and I'm just letting you guys know that you guys need to tune in every Thursday at 8 p.m. because this place is wild.
Of course! Don't touch that dial.
You miss your diss, you understand? You laugh.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. You're now tuned to CFRE 91.9 FM. It's your man, DM C.O.O.L. And you're now tuned into C.O.O.L Radio. Welcome back to the show, people. Now, later on, around the 8:15 minute mark, we have one of the cast members of the new Aaliyah movie, which will be dropping very soon. She goes by the name of Chattrisse. She will be dropping by soon to talk about her new role, amongst other things. And usually this is around the portion of the show where I like to play some music, get y'all settled in. But no, we're going straight for the haymaker this time around, because I have another guest who is about to make her way on the air right now via phone, and she's calling all the way from Van City. That's right, people. I'm talking about Vancouver, right? She is a sports journalist, a sports blogger, and she was one of my fellow contestants arrivals on the show known as Drafted on The Score, formerly The Score. I'm talking about none other than Sahar Golestani. Sahar, what's up?
Hey.
How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Glad you can make it on the show. So let the people know, how you got involved with sports.
Well, I majored in English, actually, and one day I was sitting down. I was like, you know what? I'm going to start a blog. So I started writing on my blog that I called Sports by Sahar. And so I started writing about soccer. I always liked watching soccer, and then I put my two passions of writing and soccer together. Mm-hmm. And once it started to take off and people were like, make videos, do this, do that, and I started building a fan base, and I went from there.
That's what's up. Now, you reside in Vancouver, so what can you tell us about the sports vibe over there? What's that like?
The sports vibe in Vancouver is mostly based around hockey, as most of you might already know, because we are home to the Canucks.
Uh-huh.
And, when we lose, we have the huge riots.
Yep. It was looking like the G20 summit, I must say.
Yeah. It's like World War III when we lose. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, it's basically mostly based around hockey. I mean, we have the Whitecaps or the MLS, and we just opened a new stadium for them, and people are starting to come out. We have the BC Lions. We don't have baseball. We don't have basketball like Toronto does, but those are our three sports.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Now, let's talk about that riot that happened back in 2011. Were you actually in the city during that time? I was in the city, yes.
Okay.
What can you tell us about, the commotion during that time when it happened?
Honestly, for the final, I made a mental decision to stay home.
Good.
I was like, you know what, I'm just going to stay home. I don't have a good feeling about this. And then after the game, we just switched on the news, and it was chaos. Even all the other days, honestly, when we all went downtown, we were watching the games, it's always hectic. The streets were packed.
Yeah.
Vancouver hosted the Olympics, right? And the streets were just as packed as the Olympics for just this hockey game, right?
Yeah.
And I think there's just a bunch of kids that they wanted to do this anyways, regardless whether they won or lost. And then they just got all these drunk people involved and just started this riot,
Sounds about right.
Yeah, when people are drunk, they're just like, yeah, let's flip a car over.
Hell yeah, let's get wasted, bro. Totally wasted.
Yeah, that's pretty much what happened.
Yeah, I hear you on that. But at least the year before, you guys had the Winter Olympics, and you guys won the most important sport in that Olympic Games, which was hockey. So can't get mad at that, right? Can't have them all.
Yeah, exactly.
So let's talk about Drafted now. Now, me and you, we were contestants on that series about 2 years ago. Well, what was your first reaction when you got the call saying that you were one of the finalists for it?
I was extremely excited because I had just moved from Vancouver to Toronto without a clue in the world of what I was going to do. I just knew that I wanted to pursue this career in sports journalism and in soccer mainly. Mm-hmm. And so I had just got there. I did this audition, and then 2 weeks later, everything was unfolding. I didn't expect it to happen that quickly. I thought I would probably live in the city for about 6 or 7 months before things start to pop off.
Yeah.
So I was really excited, but I was extremely overwhelmed. In no ways did I ever go around telling people that I know everything about sports.
Mm-hmm.
My thing is soccer. So it was overwhelming, to say the least.
Yeah, I can definitely imagine. I kind of had the same reaction myself, when I was, one of the contestants myself as well, too. I was like, oh, Okay, so I'm actually pretty good at this then. Okay, I might have something here.
Yeah.
All right, so you do say that soccer is your sport, so let's talk a little bit more about soccer.
Okay.
World Cup took place this year, of course, as we all know, in Brazil, and there was quite a handful of celebrities that were present during the games. Like LeBron James made it to one of the final games of the World Cup this past summer. So what I want to ask you is, in your opinion, do you feel that North America has caught up with the rest of the world in terms of getting involved with soccer?
I think so. I mean, for me, it's like when I saw pictures of like Rihanna and she's like taking pictures with all these soccer players and she's in the stadium, she's going to these games.
Mm-hmm.
For me, it's like I would have never thought that she was into soccer,
Mm-hmm.
And that's how I felt about seeing a lot of artists and singers and actors that actually made it out to Brazil and they were there. And I think it's a big involvement too, where they usually have a World Cup song, so
Mm-hmm.
whether it's Shakira or Pitbull or J-Lo,
K9.
I think that people, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I think that people are totally starting to catch on. They're like, you know what, this is an amazing sport. And like, it's only realistically the only sport that has such a worldwide fan base,
Agreed. Speaking of worldwide, do you see Canada making the World Cup anytime soon? Like within, I'm going to say, the next 20 years?
You know what?
And be honest.
Normally I would have said no.
Okay.
But recently they have talks about a Canadian city actually hosting a World Cup.
All right.
So I think, but I don't think that's until like 2040 something.
Oh,
like,
wow. Okay.
it's
Yeah.
down the road.
I'm not holding my breath on that one.
Yeah, right. But I mean, because it's already planned out until 2022, so it would have to be the next one or a few years after that. So,
Yeah.
I mean, it's possible because if Canada hosts it, then rules-wise, Canada has to be a part of the World Cup. The hosting city is obviously a part of the World Cup. So,
Yeah.
And it's sad that would probably be the only way. But
Hey, you got to take it where you can get it, right?
You never know. You never know.
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, one thing I do notice actually, when it comes to Canada and the World Cup, I do notice that there are people who will be quick to cheer for other nations. Like you'll have people cheer for Portugal or people cheer for Ghana. Why is that in your opinion?
Why do people in Canada cheer for other teams?
Yes.
Well, most of the time it's because a part of their heritage is of that descent. Like,
yeah.
I know people who are like 1/10 Portuguese and like, go Portugal.
Oh my gosh, really?
But I mean, it's like, who else are they going to cheer
1/10.
Yeah. So for me, it's like, I'm Persian and Iran is like literally never ever in the World Cup. And then this year they were, but for some reason, they weren't my first choice.
Yeah.
Like, I've always been this huge Italian soccer fan. It's
Boo! Boo words!
Right? And that's the general reaction of what happens when you say that. So, this has always been cheering for them. And then my second team was Ghana. And
hey, there you go. Now you're talking.
Yeah.
Now you're talking. Okay. You get a cool drop for that.
Thank you. Like, that has nothing to do with my culture or my heritage or anything. And then finally, I was like, okay, when Iran was playing, I was like, all right, fine, I'll support. But it's just like, you just kind of have to go with your gut. And a lot of people in Canada, I feel like, they like to hop on that bandwagon.
Oh, yeah. Bandwagon is
like,
heavy in here.
Yeah, so it's like if you know that if you have one friend that's like from Nigeria and you're just like from Scotland and you're like, go Nigeria because that's your friend,
Obviously.
So I think that's how it works.
All right, now let me ask you a quick question, actually, because you kind of caught me off guard with the Ghana comment. Why was Ghana your second team?
Ghana is my second team because I am a very, very, very huge Kevin Prince Boateng fan.
As of all ladies, I should have known. I should have known.
I am the first, and I started this, okay?
Okay. Ladies, take notes.
Yeah, I started it. I'm a huge AC Milan fan, and as most of you know, he played for AC Milan, and I watched him flourish, and I feel like I was a part of his career just going to where it is now.
Yeah.
And so I'm a huge fan, and there's a lot of players from Ghana who have gone to San Siro and who have played for AC Milan.
Yeah.
And for me, it's like this team has a lot of heart. I love African teams, and I love how they, like, their jerseys are so cultured. Like, everything about it just makes me happy. Like, I can't watch the team and be like, no, I don't want to support this team. Like, I just love it.
So
that was my second team.
You're gonna get another cool job just for that.
Okay.
All right. So real quick before we go, actually, 2 questions.
Yeah.
You mentioned AC Milan.
Mm-hmm.
Mario Balotelli is now leaving AC Milan
Yeah.
and he's going to Liverpool. What's your thought on that?
Okay, so what happened to me is that this entire year, people had been leaving me at AC Milan. So by the time that we reach now to Mario Balotelli leaving, it's honestly like I'm getting used to all these great players leaving.
Yeah.
And so I don't know what's happening to my team or where it's going to go, but
Mm-hmm.
I am very sad. But the saddest I've ever been was obviously when Kevin Prince Boateng left. Like, I cried. I was
Oh,
like,
wow.
why
Is that serious?
is this happening? Yeah, it was a huge moment in my life.
Your life, don't kill me.
It was. And so Balotelli, he kind of distracts the team, you know what I mean? Like, he's either good or he's bad. He kind of chooses his attitude.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, it's like, okay, if he wants to go, then he can go, and we'll figure it out as we usually do. But I'm still sad that I think he's a great player, and I'm still sad that he's leaving.
He is, and like I feel like he's very misunderstood, and I feel like
Yeah.
he gets like the typecast role, the token black guy. You know, him being of like Ghanaian descent but having like
Hey.
Italian heritage and what have you. And I feel like he gets picked on a lot for that, just for being like an
for sure
outcast
he
or what have
does.
you.
And,
So
like,
he has that
Italy,
complex.
There's so much racism in Italy too towards soccer players. Even if you're from Italy and you're from the north or the south, like there's so much controversy and racism and prejudice. So I don't know how it's still like that in England, but it's not as bad.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens.
Fair enough. And one more question before you go.
Yeah.
One word to describe Luis Suarez.
Piranha.
See, I was thinking cannibal, but I'll take piranha though.
Yeah, that's it. Just piranhas.
Oh man, and that's all that needs to be said. Sahar, where can the people find you if they want to get in contact with you?
All right. Well, I'm big on Instagram. That's all I do. I Instagram selfies all day, every day. Along with some soccer stuff, obviously. So it's Sahar Golestani, SaharGolestani, and that's my Twitter as well, or Facebook. So all the same name.
That's what's up, Sahar. Next time you're in Toronto, you definitely got to come in studio and kick it with your boy.
For sure, I will.
All right. Thanks for calling in, all right?
Thanks for having me.
All right. Thank you.
Bye.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was Sahar Golestani, formerly from Vancouver, resides in Toronto here and there, but she's in Van City right now. You can get in contact with her on Twitter, as she just said. And with that being said, we have a lot more on today's show to get to. We have Chattrisse coming in the building very soon, so keep it locked. But before we do that, we got to get some Canadian content as usual. This is my man, Neo Tempest, with After Party, only on Cool Radio. Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. You're now tuned to CFRE 91.9 FM. It's your man, DM Cool. You're now tuned into Cool Radio. And as promised, I got y'all another guest to spice up things on tonight's broadcast. She is an actress. She is a singer. And she will be playing a role, a very important role in a very important movie by a very important person. We'll get into that in a bit, but I am talking about none other than Chattrisse. Chattrisse, welcome to the show.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me. It's amazing to be here.
Oh, man, thank you for being here. It's amazing to have you here. We were just talking on the air that we haven't actually seen each other in about 5 years or so. It's crazy.
It's actually insane. You would think we lived in different countries or something.
Right?
Yeah.
Well, that's good because, we got a lot catching up to do. But the good people listening on the airwaves of CFRE 91.9 FM and online at CFREradio.com want to get to know you a bit more as well, too. So, on that note, who is Chattrisse and why does Chattrisse want to pursue a career in music?
Oh, man. I am someone who really loves telling stories and someone who really loves bringing people together. So I don't know how much of that has to do with the fact that I was an only child, so I always kind of grew up like just in my own little imaginary world. But from when I was a baby, from when I was little, it was either singing songs or making up little songs and dances. I lived for things like going to Blockbuster Video and renting Design of a Decade by Janet Jackson. You know, like copying all the moves in the videos and the things like that.
Yeah.
And I remember being 10 when I wrote my first song. It was a really difficult time. I was having a rough time at school. My parents had recently divorced. Like, it was a really
tumultuous period.
It was a pretty tumultuous period for a kid. And somehow in the midst of all that, I got really inspired by a Brandy song that I had heard. And it was cool because, like, yes, I was into music, but Brandy was probably the first artist that I was like, wait, she's not that much older than me. Like, she's a kid too.
Yeah.
She doesn't have her driver's license yet. And that really inspired me. When I wrote that first song, I sort of said, this is it. This is what I'm going to do. There's a lot of things I could do, and maybe I'll end up doing other things as well, but I'm going to be a singer-songwriter. I'm going to move to Atlanta and record with TLC and Usher. That was like, the whole package was I was going to sign to LaFace Records. That was the dream.
It was all mapped out.
It was.
Very nice. So yeah, you did mention Brandy is one of your influences. Who else was your influence?
Brandy and Janet Jackson were humongous influences for me. TLC, I am still probably one of the biggest Left Eye fans you could hope to meet in your life.
That's what's up. That's what's up.
My mom was not too happy about me knowing as many of the lyrics and dance moves to some of those songs as I did, but I did. A lot of Mariah Carey. I remember a lot of that. Definitely Aaliyah. Definitely, like, it wasn't like I'm going to listen to this person so I don't listen to that person. And I think up here in Canada, it wasn't as much of a, you listen to that and that's all you listen to. Like, we all kind of grew up listening to a whole bunch of different things. So I was also exposed to a ton of Motown. I was exposed to a little bit of hip hop. I was exposed to Caribbean music. Like, you had Calypso playing in your parents' house, you know?
Most definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, my dad's more of the old school reggae type, you know.
Yes. Yeah.
Absolutely, man. So like with music, you also do acting as well too. So how are you able to get into that?
It's funny because, like I said, I wrote my first song when I was 10, and that's when I decided to be a singer-songwriter.
Okay.
But before that, my mom had signed me up in acting classes, and I had started going out to a couple of auditions and things. I was actually like 8, so I was really young when I started that.
Starting off young.
Started them young. Oh, you don't even know. My kids will have headshots before they know what school picture day is. But,
boy.
I started when I was 8. It wasn't something that we really were able to keep up. You do need to have at least one parent figure who's able to just drop everything and take the kid to whatever it is, be it an audition, be it a callback, be it a gig.
Yeah.
And my family just wasn't in a position to sort of balance that.
Yeah.
It wasn't until the end of high school, really, that I started to take acting seriously again. And I said, okay, let me get new headshots, because the ones from when I was 9 are probably not going to cut it.
Yeah. Because you went through puberty and, some little thing like that.
There were 1 or 2 changes in that, like, decade. And, started taking classes here and there and just going out for little gigs. And it took a while to really get anything, I'd say, noteworthy on my resume. But anything worth having takes time.
So tell me, what was the first production you ever took part of?
Outside of school productions, and then when I was very young, community theater, because I was like 13, I think, when my first non-school thing happened. Yeah. And that was an Anne of Green Gables. It would probably be 2009 when I did High School Musical 2 on stage.
Okay.
And that was a really good year. I did 2 runs of High School Musical 2. I also did The Marriage of Anansiwa, and followed that up like the following year with Identity, which was my first lead role in an onstage production. Okay.
Now, tell us about Home Away. It's actually a short film that was broadcast on CBC. Actually, tell us about how you got involved in that film and what the film was about.
Absolutely. I think it's a really powerful story because the filmmaker director put so much of her own story into it. So Hannah Johannes is the director of that film. And it was a collaboration between the Remix Project, City Life Films, and Temple Street Productions. And it's essentially about a pregnant teen living in a shelter. You find out as the film goes on that she's in the shelter because she got kicked out of home, probably because she got pregnant. So she's obviously dealing with a whole bunch of really difficult things in her very young life. And I get to play a really non-sympathetic character. But I
rude gal.
Pretty much. I wish it was a longer film, because you have no idea how fun it is to play a person who does things that you in real life would like not do. You wouldn't act that way. But it was in late 2012 that I got the call to audition for that and met Hannah at the audition and just kind of went in and banged it out. It was a great experience, great crew and cast to work with. And then being able to see myself on CBC was pretty cool.
This is definitely got to be very cool, actually. So how long is the film, actually? Because you just say it was pretty short.
It is. It's a short film. There is actually a link if people want to check it out. We can tweet it out again. I'll dig it up from my phone.
Absolutely.
But it's under 15 minutes long.
Okay. Yeah. That's what's up. Now, apart from the filming and the acting, what have you, tying into that, rather, I should say, you see a lot of musicians kind of verge into the acting realm. Why is that, in your opinion?
In my opinion, I feel like the better you get at one, the better you're going to get at the other. even though that's a little bit counterintuitive. So if I were to just sing, for one thing, I would be limiting myself. It's difficult to reach a wide range of people with something like just music. And these days, I mean, you could get any type of random music you want, but it's difficult to get like a broad audience. More difficult maybe than it used to be. And I don't know, when you're in such a visual society as we are, you want to be seen. You
Very transparent.
just want to be heard. Yeah. So how many people like a song on the radio, but they have no idea what the person looks like?
Exactly.
Right? Like being also involved in things like TV and film gives you the chance to just create that other level of connection with people where now they know your face and not just the sound of your voice.
Yeah.
And really, is it the sound of your voice when it's like layered with so many instruments and so many effects? Like
Exactly. Like, people can be distracted.
Yeah. So really, it's another way for people to connect with you. And I think if you are any musician or actor kind of worth their salt, you want people to connect with you.
Absolutely. And do you feel there are certain like musicians turned actors who should kind of just stay in the musician realm?
I think there are certain actor roles that don't need to be played by hardcore actors.
Okay.
And those roles will often be filled by someone who isn't an actor, whether they're a musician or whether they're something else. I think all the serious projects that require a serious actor, they tend to get filled by serious actors.
Very politically correct answer, I might add. I've seen that coming. Fair enough. Now, let's get on to the nitty-gritty, okay? You auditioned for a role in the Aaliyah biopic film coming out very soon, and you landed the role of Missy Misdemeanor Elliott.
The one and only.
So please tell the people who are listening on the World Wide Web how you landed the role of Missy Misdemeanor Elliott. So proud, by the way.
Oh, thank you. It was, I had just came back from about 6 months overseas. Hadn't auditioned in something like 8 or 9 months. So, I was just excited to have an audition. Like, that was enough to kind of make me smile. And I got all excited. I was in London, Ontario, visiting family, got the email, saw the subject line, you know, Chattrisse Dolabaille audition, Aaliyah movie. And I was, mommy. Like, I ran to get my mom to open it with her so we could share the moment together. And then when I saw the role they wanted me to audition for, I did have a moment of, oh, are they sure?
Yeah.
And when I asked my agent, like, are you sure you want me to go for this part? Like, I assume they want someone who looks more like Missy Elliott than I do. And she said, well, they already said they want to see you read for the part. So, like, you go in, you do the audition. If they want to see you read for another part instead, they'll ask you to do that. As an actor, you have to be ready for that. You go in and prepare whatever they asked you to do, but they might switch it on you and be like, actually, go out in the hall, learn these lines, and come back in and do it again, right?
Yeah.
You stay ready for that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I went, learned the stuff for the Missy audition, was prepared to read for anything else they might have me read for. They didn't end up having me read for anything else. The director was in the audition room, who was amazing. Shout out to Brad Walsh. She was so much fun to work with.
Yeah.
And after I was done my audition, you kind of just go home and try to put it out of your mind because you have no way of influencing whether you're going to get the role once you leave the room.
Yeah.
It's out of your hands.
Like, you've done the best you could.
Yeah, you better have done the best you could.
Yeah.
That's the whole point of an audition, right?
Exactly.
And I actually had a couple of other auditions coming up after that, so started prepping for them. Really trying not to dwell on, did I get the part, did I not get the part? It doesn't serve you to be worrying about it. And surprise, surprise, got the part.
Exactly.
And didn't really talk about it much. Figured there would be a backlash. At the time, Zendaya was experiencing a lot of that because at the time she had been cast as Aaliyah. And I also, once a new executive producer came on board, I thought, sometimes that indicates a change in casting. So they might take the role back. Like, they might say, we don't want Chattrisse after all. Let me just not even discuss this with people.
Yeah.
So other than a few, like, really close people, obviously my parents knew, my agent knew, a few friends here and there, I didn't really talk about it. And August 8th, I guess, I think it was the 8th of August, is when blackfilm.com kind of broke the story. And to me, I was so like, this isn't news. Like, to me, it was like almost a 2-month-old fact in my life. But that's when blackfilm.com posted it. And about 1 or 2 days after that, all of the other sort of online news media outlets started reposting it, and people started jumping in with comments, and it became the thing it is now.
Absolutely. Now, you did mention, there was like a little bit of backlash here and there and what have you. So when the news broke out that you would be playing the role of Missy Elliott, did you read any of the blogs or the posts that were commenting on why is this quote unquote light skinned girl playing Missy or whatever the case was?
I didn't know better, so yes, at the beginning I did.
Cardinal rule number 1: don't look at the blogs.
Because I find them so interesting.
Yeah.
Even if it's a topic that I am not interested in, when I see people getting really heated over something, I tend to stop.
Yeah, you want to listen. It's like, ooh, this is good.
Right? You're getting so many different perspectives, and you're wondering, well, why is this person so angry about that? Or, oh, this person made a really good point. Like, I'm interested in that.
Yeah.
And when it's about you, you're going to be interested in that. Of course. What I realized really quickly is the same way it doesn't serve you to be worrying about whether you got the part after you auditioned, it doesn't really serve you to be reading about what every random person on the web has to say about you doing a certain thing. So
because everyone has an opinion nowadays.
Everyone does, and everyone can, and that's fine.
Yeah.
This is a really buzzy project. Like, you can't pay for the kind of buzz that's already out there about this movie.
Yeah, you just run with it.
And no one's even seen it yet, right?
Yeah.
So I was reading stuff at first, and people will still tell me, or they'll tag me in something, or they'll email it to me, and I think they're well-meaning, but it's not something that when you're about to shoot a film, you don't need, people in your life sending you, oh, look at this terrible thing someone wrote about you. That you don't.
Yeah, you don't need to hear all that.
You really don't. So now that I've wrapped, they don't need me on set anymore. Today's the last day of filming. I finished last night.
Okay.
I'm like, if I want to read some of this stuff, I can.
Yeah.
But I'm also like, there's a lot of other things I have to get done.
Yeah.
So let me not spend too much time.
And fair enough. And I was going to ask you actually, so I'm assuming like a portion of this film is going to be filmed in Toronto nonetheless.
Yeah, it was filmed in Toronto and Hamilton.
Okay, so the entire movie actually? Oh, wow. Okay, then. Interesting. I did not know that. Hamilton, that's a very interesting choice.
It is, but I mean, so many large films that people think are in New York or wherever
have been filmed in Hamilton,
here, right? Yeah. Toronto.
Or Toronto, yeah.
You're going down University Avenue and you have to detour again because there's a bus that's about to flip over and blow up, and we're Hollywood North. So.
I always say that Toronto is Hollywood's whore. Because we use so many of our locations for all the Hollywood productions, but we get very little credit for it. I guess the consolation prize is that we have TIFF every year.
And TIFF is obviously a big deal. And I think it's more than just the locations, and it's more than just Toronto. Like, Canadian talent.
Oh, yeah.
If there were suddenly some big movement where to work in Hollywood you had to be American and all the Canadians came back home, there'd be zero content coming out of Hollywood.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Writers, especially writers, but writers, talent, crew, there's just so much of us in the big media that everybody all around the world is watching. So I feel like we can be really proud of that, even if it's not talked about so much. Exactly.
Like, we can look at ourselves as like the best kept secret or something like that.
Exactly.
If anything. Fair enough. And that shuts down my pessimism for the day.
I'm glad I could help.
Thank you very much. See, this is why you're here. Now, we're going to get into more of the movie later on in the broadcast. But before we do that, I don't know if you know the format of the show, but we like to play games with the guests. We like to have fun around here. So the first game I made just for you, actually, all right?
Aww.
So I know, I try. I try to be a sweetheart. The first game I have is called Take the Stage, all right?
Okay.
So this is a very, very loaded question, all right? So it's basically like a 3-in-1. So try and follow me if you will.
Let me have it.
All right. So if you could perform a duet, act alongside, and even compete for a role in a film with one of these 3 musicians/actresses, who would you choose?
Whew.
So I have 3 that are here.
Okay.
Would you choose Beyonce, Alicia Keys, or Aaliyah? If she was alive, of course.
Clearly.
Yeah.
And am I answering each of those 3 questions with a different answer, or one for all 3 of those things? Compete with?
One lady for all 3 of those things. Yeah.
Ooh. I'm going to say Beyonce.
Okay.
And I think I'm going to say Beyonce because she's the most challenging competition out of those 3 forms. Mm-hmm. Not to take anything away from the other 2, because obviously they're all amazing. They're all icons.
Yeah.
I feel like my style of music is starting where I am right now.
Yes.
To sing a song the way Beyonce sings a song,
yes,
would be a real big stretch for me.
Mm-hmm.
to sing a song the way Aaliyah sings a song. I spent a whole lot of my career doing that.
Yes.
To sing a song the way Alicia Keys sings a song is not as big of a stretch from what I've done so far as Beyonce.
Okay.
So because I'm all, give me the biggest challenge, that's my answer for question number 1.
Yeah, and I would say Beyonce has a very strong baritone in comparison to the other two ladies, whereas Aaliyah is more soft-spoken. Yeah. Alicia Keys kind of in the middle, but she just had the high octaves from time to time.
So if I wanted like a vocal workout, I'd be like, okay, B&B, let's go.
Me. Okay. And the second game that I have, this is a mainstay. This is for every single guest that comes here. This one I like to call I Quit the Game.
Every second, every minute, man, I swear that she can get it.
Now, the way this game works is as so. You know, you are a bachelorette. You're living a single life. You're chilling. You're doing your thing. You're Miss Independent, whatever. You get to date whomever, such and such.
Oh, wait, you didn't get the bio? This is a married with 6 kids?
Oh, no, I didn't get that, actually. Should we make this a breaking news?
Oh, no.
Should we make this breaking news right now?
I'm playing guys at home. Don't worry.
You know, you could have told me instead of just breaking my heart live on air like that. Like, damn.
I didn't know how to break it to you.
Oh, man.
Maybe let me show up. I was going to bring the kids with me, but you know. The
babysitter and everything,
yeah.
you know, Bobby children, you know.
Okay, no, go ahead.
Okay, so, again, like I said, you're living a single life, basically. However, you have an opportunity to quit the game, so to speak. You know, you have a chance to rip up your playerette card and just settle down with one of these two gentlemen that I have handpicked.
Oh, no. Okay,
now, I love how she's getting red right now, ladies and gentlemen.
It's the reflection from my shirt.
Oh, of course. Oh, man. Now, seeing as how we are doing the singer/actor theme for tonight, out of these two gentlemen, which would you choose? Would you choose A, Jamie Foxx, or B, Justin Timberlake? The plot thickens.
Justin Timberlake.
Okay, and why Timberlake?
I think it's a teenage nostalgia thing.
Okay, NSYNC days, right?
And even like, actually, I was more of a BSB girl than NSYNC.
Okay.
But
get down, and move it all around. Sorry.
Yeah, but just like, I don't know. As soon as you said Justin Timberlake, I thought of the song "Gone."
Yeah.
So I just like went to this place in my mind where I was whatever age I was, and
yeah,
like, it was just a really happy time and like pop R&B
and hitless days.
Yeah, and I don't know. I guess like he's a little closer in age. I know Jamie Foxx was really well established as an actor first, because when you say Jamie Foxx, first I think of the movie Ray, but then I immediately go all the way back to like 90-something, and I think of like Ugly Wanda from In Living Color. Yeah.
Like, Shanae.
Yeah, that one episode that he did with En Vogue where they're singing Never Gonna Get It, and he brings that, that still like slays me. I can't. Look that up on YouTube. So out of those two gentlemen, I'm gonna go with JT.
Sounds good. You know, JT is not a bad pick. He's actually had some lovely women. He tends to dip in the chocolate from time to time. So you might be in luck. Ladies and gentlemen, we have more with the lovely Chattrisse. So keep it locked. This is Cool Radio. And it's keeping with the singer/musician/actor theme, the next track that we have on deck is from a fellow actor/rapper. This man goes by the name of Childish Gambino. And this is arguably my favorite track on Because of the Internet. This is Telegraph Ave, only on Cool Radio. We'll be right back after these messages. Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the show. You're now tuned to CFRE 91.9 FM. It's your man, DM Cool. And now tuned into Cool Radio. Welcome back to the show. I still got my main girl, Chattrisse, in the building.
What's up?
You already know. So, you already know what time it is, people. We're about to get to the news and notes of the week, and it's time for Trip Talk. So that's 3 topics in 3 minutes. We'll do a special take on Trip Talk, actually, because there's 2 topics in particular that I really want to get discussed. So, the first one is the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge. Now, a lot of people have been doing their challenges online, you know, through Instagram, Facebook, and what have you. And, you know, it's taking a lot of buzz. Now, with a lot of buzz comes a lot of criticism as well. So there are people who are saying, you know, why are people doing this? You know, this is stupid. They're wasting water. And then you'll see them posting pictures of memes of like kids in Africa who have like no water. Meanwhile, we're dumping water. You know, meanwhile, we're beside a pool or what have you. So that led me to ponder on what are the positives and the negatives that come with this ice bucket challenge. Now, I've been reading up on it, and people are saying that if you do the ice bucket pouring on you or what have you, then you only have to donate $10. Whereas if you deny it, then you have to pay $100. Either way, the money's going to charity. Chattrisse, do you see more positives or negatives from this ice bucket challenge?
I really kind of see both sides of it because it reminds me of the no makeup selfie challenge, right?
Okay.
Challenge. A challenge is supposed to be something challenging, but whatever.
Yeah.
And with the criticism with that was, well, there was a few different criticisms, but the main one was most of the people doing this are not actually donating to the cause, and the whole point is donating to the cause.
Yeah.
So I don't know if there's ever going to be a way to find out how many of the people posting these ice water videos are actually donating and how many are not. I do know that the foundation has, I don't even remember what the percentage was, but there's been a huge spike, like an increase in donations from just unsolicited individuals.
I think they're on like $8 million right now, $8 million apparently.
Yes, that's not bad, right? And the same thing had happened for the no makeup selfie challenge. So it's great because obviously the point is there are causes out there that need help from just average everyday citizens.
Yeah.
And this is a way to pitch in. And I think a lot of people these days are going to use anything as a way to get attention for themselves.
Yeah.
And these organizations have started finding these ways to channel that self-seeking attention kind of vibe.
Yeah, the vein.
Into material
The vanity.
support, for whatever it is that
Yeah.
they're there for. So I see pluses and negatives to it.
Yeah.
I think there are so many charities and so many causes and so many, avenues that you could raise funds to research a cure for this or help that or these people. Like there are so many ways to contribute that I'm not really such a bandwagoner. When I hear one of my friends doing it, I have to do it too. Like,
Yeah.
I kind of got my own list of
To do stuff.
to do stuff and
Yeah.
to support organizations.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean I'm ready to bash someone else
Yeah.
or maybe they had never even heard of ALS until this challenge. Right?
Yeah.
And awareness is a big part of it too.
Yeah, just let them do their thing. I'm weighing the pros and the cons out of it. And the way I see it, this is no different from any other charity that's been sparked on social media. I feel like every charity that comes about, you need a certain amount of celebrity power to get it pushed. I mean, you look at some of the "We Are the World" songs that came out in the last couple of years. Like it took a bevy of celebrities to get involved with that. You look at something like, let's say the MS Walk, for example. Like every year, it's a walk that sponsors funds for MS. Right? There's always something that needs like some sort of a gimmick to raise awareness. Because think about it like this. A fish, seeing a dangling hook, just the dangling hook itself is not going to be like, ooh, let me bite onto it. It needs bait.
Yeah.
So obviously, supporting something like ALS, which is Lou Gehrig's disease, you're going to need something like this to spark interest. It may not seem ethical, quote unquote, but at the end of the day, the means justifies the ends. I compare this to Drake being a quote unquote member of the Toronto Raptors, being the global ambassador. The last time I saw this amount of casual fans be interested in the Toronto Raptors was probably during the Vince Carter era.
Yeah.
So say what you
Years
want
ago.
about it. You can say, oh, there's so many hipster fans, or they're only here because of the T-shirts or whatever, or oh, the girls are here, they don't even know half the players. But at the end of the day, they're still getting people to buy into it. So that's the way I see it. You got to take the good with the bad at the end of the day. So if people want to pour a ton of ice on their bodies, then let them. As long as the ALS group is getting their message across by that means, it's cool. I mean, it could be a lot worse. It could be twerk for ALS or something like that. You know what I mean?
Someone is working on a campaign.
I'm
right
sure
now.
somebody is. I'm sure somebody is. So that's my opinion on the ALS thing. I'm not really for it, but I'm not really against it. It's very indifferent to me, in my opinion. It's just there. It's just another thing. And then, second topic I want to talk about. This one's a little bit more of a more serious tone to it, actually. But we all know about the shooting that happened in Ferguson, Missouri, that involved a young gentleman by the name of Mike Brown. He was 18 years old. He was gunned down by a police officer. Autopsy came out, and he got hit with about 6 shots, including one to the head, while his arms were still up. So basically, a lot of people have come to arms to protest about that situation. No pun intended, by the way. There was a lot of celebrities who have taken part in spreading awareness about this case. A lot of people in the black urban community, especially too. You have rappers upon rappers who have taken upon themselves to get involved with this. So my question is, what do you think about hip hop's involvement with this case in particular?
I am all for people who have a platform using it for good. So it's almost the same as the question we were just addressing. You know? There is nothing wrong with someone who has increased visibility speaking on something that they feel passionately about. I feel passionately about this too. Yeah. There's one, he's not a hip hop artist per se, but he's a black artist, John Legend.
Oh, yes.
I forget even which news outlet it was that was tweeting him like, yo, stay in your lane. You know, you're only supposed to be tweeting about music. And he was like, taxpayer, human, citizen. Like, I am in my lane. Like, this affects me. This affects all of us. And I just feel like if more people took that stance, that if one of us, and you can use us to mean whatever you want.
Yeah, very ambiguous.
Americans, it can mean North Americans, it can mean human beings. But if you take the stance that if one of us is being treated unfairly, is being oppressed, is being whatever, then there's something wrong and I'm going to speak up about it, then perfect. I think a lot of the time you don't see that from the hip-hop community. It's almost the opposite. It's like, well, as long as you're not bothering one of me or my 20 homeboys, then I'm cool.
Stop snitching and all that.
That
I still hate Cameron for that dumb interview they did on 60 Minutes. I'm sorry.
Like,
continue.
That whole attitude that if it doesn't touch me or the people closest to me, I don't need to worry about it, is really dangerous to me. So I am happy to see the hip hop community, I hate to say waking up, because hip hop started as one of
rebel music, basically.
Pretty much. And, like, look how times have changed. So I'm happy to see that a community that is often associated with a more, well, as long as I'm okay, then everything's okay mentality, is getting angry, is speaking out, is encouraging other people to speak out as well.
Now, do you feel that this is going to be another Trayvon Martin situation where we're all going to be, you know, Huey P. Newton political activists one day and then just go back to, you know, shake what your mama gave you the next day, basically?
I think that's the way a lot of this generation or these generations are. We've got really short attention spans. People have already forgotten about hashtag bring back our girls.
Yes.
Like, there's a whole...
Joseph Kony, cough, cough.
there's like another issue that's going to break tomorrow. I don't even know what it is, but I'm sure it'll be trivial, and I'm sure it will have a lot more people. I actually see the ALS thing as like one of those things that's here distracting people from Ferguson. And I
feel the same way, because they happen... so timely at the same time. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to say that there's a conspiracy or whatever. I'm not trying to say, Illuminati stuff, but it's very, I find it very coincidental that they both, seem to happen so quickly at the same time at their peaks.
And the other thing is the death of Robin Williams.
Yes. Thank you.
And I would never, someone I'm sure is misinterpreting my words right now, but I'm not trivializing one death compared to another, and I'm not saying one death has more merit than another.
And then we can also bring in Gaza as well, too.
Absolutely, which is ongoing, and thousands of people are dying in Gaza. And someone made a meme, I don't even know where it came from, and it was after Robin Williams' suicide, and it was of him yelling with like a speech bubble, don't forget about Mike Brown. And it's just, you have to really, we've only got so many hours in a day, we've only got so many minutes in a day to spend on Twitter. You do want to be careful about where do you put your attention. And there's nothing wrong with more lighthearted things, and Kermit the Frog memes, I laugh at some of them too. But at the same time, it's
but that's none of my business.
But at the same time, it's just that there are really important things going on in the world, and you do have more of a voice than someone 20 years ago did. And that's part of the reason why I think I've been able to ignore so much of the Missy backlash. Like, so you mean to tell me that there's thousands of people being killed over here in this part of the world? There are innocent people being gunned down by people over here, and you are going to write a whole diatribe and post it online because you're mad that I got hired to play a role in a movie? Like, please put things in perspective, right? That's just the way I look at it.
And that's a very positive attitude to have about it. And I feel like with a lot of artists in general, they look at what's being said on social media and they let it get to them. They're very emotional about it.
We all are. We're performers.
Oh my gosh. I mean, funny thing, this actually hits home as well, actually, because one of my former hosts on the show goes by the name of Jay Kareem. He actually made an opinion about Wale and his choice of music now that he's with MMG, and he included him in his tweet. And oddly enough, Wale actually responded to him, so we kind of discussed that for a bit. But this isn't the first time that Wale has, lashed out, and certainly with any other artist as well, too. So I feel like artists you know, especially within hip hop, because they're overly sensitive. I feel like they just need to stop looking at Twitter, go back in the booth, spit some fire, and then let the critics talk about that afterwards. Stop spending your time on social media. That's it. I feel like their A&R should be like, no Twitter, no nothing. We will handle that shit, basically.
Basically, and that's what it comes down to, is what I want as an artist is for people talk about me, fine, talk about my work. But this for me, this whole Missy Aaliyah thing is the first time that I have had thousands of people talking about my work before I had even done the work. Like before I set foot on set, there were people talking about whether I was good enough, how I was going to handle it, That's a unique position for me. I'm not used to that. But my thing is, I forget even where I got this advice. By the time someone congratulates you on something, you should be looking back at them like, what? What are you talking about? Like you've almost forgotten it. You're already on to the next.
Exactly.
So as grateful as I am to be a part of this movie, as amazing a time as I had on set, I'm not going to spend, the next 6 months still doing interviews about the Aaliyah movie because I need to be pushing.
Yeah, keep it moving. Like that's good, but build on that momentum though. Don't go back to just keep it moving. Go on the next role, and then we'll see what happens after that.
I called up my agent, and she was laughing. She said, "You're certainly not one to rest on your laurels." And I said, "Rest on my laurels? Do you know how uncomfortable it is sitting on those? I get slivers from resting on my laurels. No, what's next?"
Exactly. And on that note, speaking of the Aaliyah movie, it's time for the Throwback Thursday track of the day. Time to get old school with it. You know how we like to do Throwback Thursday, hashtag Throwback Thursday. Send me your ideas on what you want to hear for Throwback Thursday. Now, for this week, I thought it was only fitting that because you were coming to the studio, we had to play an old school Missy track.
Okay.
You know we had to. Now, I was going through all the tracks today, which ones I wanted to play and stuff like that. And I was like, you know what? I haven't heard this in at least, I want to say like roughly 10 years. So on that note, ladies and gentlemen, for the millions tuning in on at CFREradio.com, whether you are in the eastern part of Toronto, which you are listening to at 8:58 p.m. right now, or if you're in jolly old England like my sister is, shout out to my sister Eleanor, and you're listening at 1:58 a.m. if I'm not mistaken.
Oh wait, shout outs to everybody in Dubai who is 8 hours ahead of us.
There you go. Ladies and gentlemen, no matter what time zone you're in, it's time to get your freak on. Get your freak on from Missy Elliott. Keep it locked. This is Cool Radio. We'll be right back after these messages.
It's your man, Chris Gotrock.
What's up, my family? It's Maliki and Sweet Senorita.
It's your boy, Dirty German. This is all mails from the critics. I just finished my interview at C.O.O.L Radio, and I'm just letting you guys know that you guys need to tune in every Thursday at 8 p.m. because this place is wild.
Of course! Don't touch that dial.
You miss your diss, you understand? Keep it locked.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. You are now tuned to CFRE 91.9 FM. It's your man, DM Cool. And you're now tuned to Cool Radio. Welcome back to the show. I still got my homegirl, Chattrisse, in the building.
Yep.
You already know. Now, I know you guys have been waiting for a very long time for this segment, and I appreciate the patience. But it's time to get into the coveted Wankster of the Week. Let's drop that.
You a wankster, and you need to stop fronting.
Now, this week's Wankster of the Week, I must say, rappers were very polite this week. Not a whole lot of them got into any coonery or buffoonery of any sort, and I'm almost proud. But I was mad at the same time because I had to dig deep for dirt this week. Luckily, it came today in the hands of Atlanta rapper Future. Okay? Now, Future is getting the Wankster this week, and he is no stranger to getting the Wankster of the Week. As, if you may recall last year, for all our longtime viewers, he did get the Wankster for saying that Lil Wayne brought awareness to Emmett Till when he mentioned him in his verse for Karate Chop, stating, and I quote, "I beat the pussy up, call it Emmett Till." Yes, he created awareness for that, he said. And we definitely had to give him the Wankster, not only for that week, but he was the top 5 Wankster of the year last year for Cool Radio. And this may not be as big of a Wankster, but is a Wankster nonetheless. He is getting the Wankster, not only for cheating on Sierra, his baby mother, but reports have come out that he cheated on her with none other than someone on his team, his stylist. Now, his stylist goes by the name of Tyrina Lee, and basically she styles him for his wardrobe when it comes to photo shoots and music videos and what have you. And basically a press statement was released by one of Sierra's reps saying that she was devastated when she found out and how she feels as though that this little affair has been going on for a very long time, and this was just more than one rendezvous between the two. Now, this is my thing right here. Sierra, I do feel for you. I really do. But, dating a rapper by the name of Future, come on. You should have known that you had no future with that boy in the first place. And as for Future, I'm not a Future fan. I'm sorry, man. I'm not down with the whole ratchet soul movement that he does, his little easy, corny hooks that he does. It's not my thing. I'm not gonna lie. I woke up in a new Bugatti. It's kind of catchy, especially when you're kind of sipping on a little something. But that's besides the point. You are getting this wankster regardless because you cheated on Sierra. Like, there are so many dudes I went to high school with that would have drop kicked their grandmother and had her dentures flying in the air just so they could have one night only with Sierra. But no, you took it, and you just ruined it. You sullied it. And what's worse, I think the worst thing out of all of this is the fact that you named your son Future. Why? Oh, why did Sierra agree to this? You could have given him one of those typical American names like Deshaun or something like that. You could have given him any name that was biblical. You could have given him an African name for culture appropriation or what have you. But no, you named him after your stage moniker. How dare you? I hope that kid has a future so that when he can look at you one day, he can be like, hey, Dad, I did better than you. I hope he does better than him because with a name like Future, you have a lot to live up to. So on that note, you're getting the Wankster of the Week. Do you deserve this Wankster? Of course you do. So on that note, let's hear that drop one more time.
Say you a wankster and you need to stop fronting.
I can't stand Future. I swear to God, he's one of the most overrated artists in today's generation. Chattrisse, how do you feel about Future and his infidelity with Sierra?
I am so of two minds about commenting on the personal lives of public people. So I almost don't even want to comment because one day anything I say will come back to me. I'm a firm believer in karma. I will say that.
See, I kind of am too, but at the same time, when I feel the right to express my right to freedom of speech, I have no choice but to.
Right. And I mean, freedom of speech is a big deal and we're grateful for it. I feel obviously no one will ever know what happens in a relationship except those two people. True. And even those two people will only ever know their interpretation of it. True. Right? So I almost feel like there's no point in trying to sort of weigh in on it. At the same time, when you feel like it's a situation you've been in, if there's someone listening to this right now who's like, yep, my baby daddy did the same thing, clearly that's going to strike a chord with her. And that's the whole point of telling stories. So that's what news and media are for, when they're bringing people together over shared experiences as opposed to separating people. So it is what it is. When you're in the public eye, you need to realize that you're still going to have a life. You're still going to have emotions. You're going to have ups and downs, things that happen to you, with the added layer of there may be thousands of people talking about your life and your ups and downs and the things that have happened to you. And that's just kind of part of the gig. I am with you on naming it your child Future is probably not.
Thank you.
Not the
not the logical. Thing to do.
Not the most prudent thing you could do as a parent, but
he's probably not getting a job until he's 22. Let's be honest.
I don't know if he's gonna be that worried, personally.
You never know. These rappers like to make it rain. They like to blow money fast. They don't know. They don't have fiscal plans. They don't believe in investments. They invest in strippers and bottles of Crevassier. That is what they're putting their money towards too.
I guess time will tell then, but I'm definitely with you on that's not going on my short list of names for my, ironically, for my future kids.
Yeah. And on that note, I like that we spun that right there. And on that note, Chattrisse, do we have a release date for this Aaliyah biopic, or are we kind of keeping it on the wraps?
You know what? If I knew more, I would say more. I do know that we originally were told fall release. Okay. And I know that when that information first came out was when we were going to be shooting this in July. Okay. And of course, all of the production got pushed back. So today is the wrap of the actual filming. Okay. I heard they still are pushing for a fall release. I don't know how sort of set in stone that is. I assume Lifetime knows, months and months and months in advance what's coming out in what month. So if we don't make it for a fall release, I don't know how far into the next year they would have to push it, and nobody wants that. You've done the work, you want to edit it, package it, get it out there. So no idea when officially, but obviously when I do, I'll be telling the world. It's my first chance being in a project this big, and I'm super, super excited for everybody to see it.
Absolutely, absolutely. And it will be premiering on Lifetime, I believe?
It is a Lifetime exclusive, yes.
Okay, that's what's up.
Which means I may have to take a quick trip down to the States just so I can watch it at the same time as it breaks for the rest of the world.
Fair enough. Fair enough. That's all we ask. Chattrisse, where can the people find you on social media?
If you promise, like basically what I tell people, I promise if you spell my name correctly, you'll find me.
Yes.
And if you don't, like I'm not responsible for where you end up. So
fair enough.
It's ChatTrisse on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram. You can just type that in. You will find me. On YouTube, it's C Chattrisse, so it's SEEChattrisse. Definitely reach out, keep in touch. I do have a few more followers now from the controversy, which is always
it's always good, you know. Glass half full.
Exactly. It's always a good thing to see, and we do have a TV series coming up that I'm in pre-production with that I definitely am looking forward to sharing with the rest of the world as well. Maybe there'll be a cameo for a radio host at UTM. Who knows?
Well, you know, I just so happen to have a little TV credits to my name. I'm just saying.
All right, so you never know. Could be the next big thing for both of us.
Sounds good. I like that. Chattrisse, thank you so much for coming through. You know you're welcome here anytime, of course.
Thank you so much for having me. This has been a really fun show.
Absolutely. I always try to make it fun for the guests. Speaking of guests, next week we will have artist, singer, and songwriter Taya Marquise on the show, so keep on the lookout for that. You can follow the show at @cool_radio, and you can follow yours truly, DM Cool, at DM_cool. Make sure you like us on Facebook at Cool Radio. Subscribe to us on YouTube, Cool Radio. Cool_radio, my bad. And then, if you want to see me on Instagram, then you can hit me up at Cool for Thought on Instagram. So make sure you do all that good stuff, right? But anyways, we are out of here. Once again, it's your man, DM Cool. It's been a blast, y'all. Peace. Cool.